So, a very good morning to all of you. Jai Hind and welcome to the daily current affairs and MCQ series. Chaliye, great. I believe that you all are doing good. Great. Good to have you all. Great. So, it's a fine sunny morning this 29th of January. Let's begin with the session. The first article that we are discussing today that concerns, the hydrogen production and the new hydrogen policy which is going to be revealed soon, right? So that becomes important for us to take a look at what exactly is this, because from your exam perspective what becomes important is the economic and social development, the new national green hydrogen policy and the renewable energy, right? So certainly this government, that is the NDA government, has been pushing a lot on the renewable energy front, and regarding that only this new policy, that is the new national green hydrogen policy, is going to be unveiled, right? It is yet to be unveiled, that has not been done. So that is going to be a new policy, and we'll also keep a tab as and when this policy gets launched, right? So what they're going to do is that they're going to replace the gray hydrogen with the green hydrogen, which is produced from renewable energy. There are 4 or 5 types of hydrogens which are involved, which are categorized or classified, you can say, on the basis of how they are produced actually, right? What is the actual process which is involved in the production of that particular hydrogen? That is how these names are given. We are coming to that in a moment, but before that, this policy would also provide land in renewable energy parks and bunkers at ports for the storage of green hydrogen and green ammonia to the producers. So that means that the policy is certainly going to give an impetus to the domestic production of hydrogen, particularly green hydrogen. And apart from that, what the ministry has said, the Ministry of Power says that we aim to make India a global hub for green hydrogen manufacturing, right? That is, we want to make green hydrogen exports of India go up, and that is where we are going to tap into through this new policy, right? So when we this is an infographic depicting 2 particular types of hydrogens, green hydrogen and blue hydrogen. So you have natural gas and you have steam reforming there. You have renewable electricity and electrolysis through which the green hydrogen is produced, right? Look, when we talk about different types of hydrogens, we particularly can categorize them in 3 or 4 types. So gray hydrogen basically is produced from natural gas where the associated emissions are released in the air. So that means that there is a component of greenhouse gas emission which is involved. That means that you are still causing some amount of harm to the environment, which is not the case with green hydrogen. Why? Because you are producing it from electrolysis power, and which is powered by renewable electricity. So that means that the process completely is environment friendly. It is not releasing any kind of GHGs. It is not causing harm to the environment. That is why we are saying that this is the green hydrogen, right? I believe that this is clear to you. Chaliye, great. So let's take a question now. Hanji. So which of the following statements is or are correct? First, the petroleum refining and fertilizer sectors are among the largest users of hydrogen in India. Second, the Power Ministry has recently released the updated policy on energy storage systems. Yes, please quickly mark your answers in the comment section. Okay, Rohit says C. ठीक है. Look, although most of the answers here are C, Ahana says C, Chandrakant, Preeti, Mohammad Sartaj, Rohit. देखो, पहली जो statement है, that is absolutely fine. That as far as the consumption is concerned, then certainly you have the refineries and the fertilizers, these 2 sectors which are using maximum amount of hydrogen in the country. That is absolutely fine as a fact. But this is incorrect. Why? Because this policy on energy storage systems, that is still being, discussed, that has not been released by the Power Ministry. So आपका answer जो है वो C नहीं होगा. Correct statements will be A only, right? The Power Ministry, they are discussing this, and they have discussed the draft policy on energy storage systems. So this also is in the draft stage itself, right? So for question number 1, answer will be A, right? Chaliye, moving to the next statement, next article. So this is, something which is of historic importance also, which is of strategic importance also, which is of, importance to the civil aviation sector, that after, 7 decades, nearly 7 decades, Air India is back with the Tatas, right? So that is certainly important. And this is a brief journey which has been beautifully depicted in this, one of these articles, that how exactly in the, ahead of times when 1962 JRD Tata, he started with this venture, which ultimately, went with the government of India, and now it is again back with the Tatas, right? So this brief you can go across in the PDF. We are jumping to the question straight away, right? Yes. So which of the following statements either are correct? First, Thales Private Limited is a wholly owned subsidiary of Tata Sons Private Limited. Second, Tatas have got Air India's fleet of 141 planes along with ownership of iconic brands like Air India, Indian Airlines and the Maharaja. Yes. This has been in news for quite some time. The government was, it was trying hard to push for the disinvestment in Air India. Okay, great. So some are saying B and some are saying A. Rahul says C. Great. So certainly, look, when you talk about, there is the parent company, that is the Tata Sons. And under Tata Sons, there is a subsidiary, that is Thales, which basically has got the ownership. This is a wholly owned subsidiary. Wholly owned subsidiary means that the Tata Sons, which is the parent group, is having complete control, complete ownership rights of this particular group, which is a subsidiary of the parent company. And right now, which is involved with this particular deal with the union government, right? So the first statement is absolutely fine. The second statement, that apart from the fleet of the planes, they have also got iconic brands like Air India, Maharaja and Indian Airlines, right? So both the statements stand to be correct. Hence your answer will be both 1 and 2, right? देखो simple सी बात है कि जो दोनों, both of all of the iconic brands which were operating under the aegis of or under the ambit of Air India, they have all been transferred to the Thales Group, which is a wholly owned subsidiary of Tata Sons, right? चलिए, great. So I believe this is clear. Moving to the next article. So Union Agriculture Minister has addressed the 4th National Conference on Agriculture for Summer campaign, and that is where, certainly the summer season will be starting very soon, and that is where the cropping pattern also comes into play. कि आपको यहाँ पे cropping pattern के regarding, क्योंकि इस particular meeting में discussion हुआ है, so what becomes important from exam perspective is that crops, the agriculture cropping seasons in India, and the cropping pattern, right? So what exactly has happened is that the Union Agriculture Minister, that he has, said that summer crops, they certainly are an employment provider to the farmers, to the agriculturalists. How? Because between the two major seasons of two main crops, that is Rabi and the Kharif, right? इन दोनों के बीच में जब किसान relatively the farmer does not have much to do, then this particular transition period that comes in, where the importance of the Zaid crops actually lies, right? So it is important that to note that this provides extra income but also create employment opportunities between the Rabi and the Kharif crop seasons for the farmers. Now look, why this is important, because see, in agriculture, in Indian economy, you must have read that this is seasonal, right? And since agriculture is seasonal, we associate primarily we associate two kinds of unemployments with agriculture. One is related to season only, so that is seasonal unemployment, that when the season is not there, so the farmers, they are unemployed. And what is the other kind of unemployment that we primarily associate? Disguised unemployment, right? That maybe on that piece of land, you do not need those many amount of people to work. बट स्टिल अगर मान लो 10 लोगों के काम करने से उस एग्रीकल्चरल लैंड पे उतनी खेती हो सकती है, लेकिन वहां पे उस पूरी फैमिली के 15 लोग काम कर रहे हैं, तो जो 5 लोग एक्स्ट्रा हैं अगर उनको हटा भी दिया जाए, देन ऑल्सो द आउटपुट विल नॉट चेंज, द आउटपुट विल रिमेन द सेम. Then we say that is a part of disguised unemployment. You getting the point, right? So that is how you need to associate, or that is how you need to relate कि करंट में क्या चल रहा है और उसका आपके स्टैटिक के साथ कहां पे आपको रिवाइज करना है, right? So I believe that you know that that is seasonal unemployment, and also that is disguised unemployment, which we primarily associate with agriculture, right? और यहीं पे ज़ैद crops की देखो importance आती है. So apart from that, the area under cultivation of Zaid crops, including rice, has also increased. So that is, certainly good for the farmers. Increased progressively 2.7 times from 29.71 lakh hectares in 2017-18 to 80 lakh hectares in 2020-21. So that means that certainly एक extra income, एक extra support जो है farmer को मिलता है इससे. ठीक है, that is why this is very important. It becomes crucial for the farmer to sustain himself or herself during those lean periods when you have mostly seasonal unemployment, right? चलिए, let's move to the question now. Which of the following statements either are not correct with respect to Zaid crops? First, Zaid crops are the summer season crops. Pardon me, this is not winter. Zaid crops are the summer season crops. Second, they require warm, dry weather and grow mainly between the months of March and July. Third, muskmelon, cucumber, fodder crops are some of the examples of it. Yes. So please mark your answer. The first statement reads, Zaid crops are the summer season crops. Right, that is a typo error there. Okay, so let's wait for a couple of more answers and then we are going to discuss it. Okay, great. So we have some answers here. We have D, we have C, we have D and C primarily as the answers. ठीक है, great. देखो, certainly we have just discussed that they are summer season crops, transition between the months of January, February to the months of monsoon until then. So certainly this is correct. Then they require warm, dry and grow in mainly between the months of March and July. Right, that is the apt season where these crops grow. Right. So this is also true. And muskmelon, cucumber and the fodder crops, these are some of the examples which are included in the Zaid crops. So 1, 2 and 3 all are correct. Hence your answer will be D. That is, none is incorrect. Right. No, Sakshi, it will not be C. Right. Sakshi, it will not be C. Right. Why? Because all these statements are correct and hence you are going to mark that incorrect is none. Right. Chaliye. So I believe that is clear. So moving to the next article, that is Mohua launches the Swachhata startup challenge for transformation in waste management. So what exactly becomes important? आपके exam perspective से, if we talk about the civil services exam prelims, that is the Department of DPIIT, startups, Atmanirbhar Bharat, and certainly the Swachhata challenge which we are talking about, right? So this is basically in partnership with France. That is, this is written in French only. AFD, that is Agency Française de Développement, and Mohua along with DPIIT, that is Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, right? That is India and France, they jointly are working on this, and this is a collaborative effort by both the countries, right? That is the Swachhata Startup Challenge which has been launched by Mohua. That is the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, right? We are talking about the DPIIT is basically Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade. This is DPIIT. Right, which is the agency which is involved along with Mohua, right? So what exactly it aims to? It aims to provide an impetus to innovative startups to come forward to provide some amount of innovation, some amount of new ideas and drive catalytic transformation in the sanitization and waste management sector. See, waste management sector, why is it important, or why, for particularly the urban areas it is becoming important? Have you guys ever been to Delhi? आप लोगों में से कोई दिल्ली गया है? वो दिल्ली में आपने कूड़े के पहाड़ देखे हैं? जब आप when you enter Delhi, there is the garbage hill that is there, the infamous garbage hill, which is almost new in news every year. So that is where the waste management policy has, failed to provide for proper waste management of the large urban areas. Right? Yes, exactly. They are humongous heaps on the Karnal bypass. एग्जैक्टली सो देखो प्रॉब्लम वही है कि आपको क्या चाहिए, यू नीड यू नीड इनोवेटिव आइडियाज, यू नीड न्यू सॉल्यूशंस टू दीज चैलेंजेस. Our urban population certainly is rising, so are the challenges relating to urban planning, right, urban management, and that is why the Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs has come up with this idea, right? Certainly Mohammad Sartaj is saying that he lives in Delhi, and of course you must have been witness to those heaps of garbages, right? So this is in line with the vision of Atmanirbhar Bharat, also Make in India, and the challenge seeks to promote an enabling environment for enterprise development under Swachh Bharat Mission Urban. ठीक है, particularly देखो ये किसके साथ associated है, it is associated with SBM Urban 2.0, right? That is you are trying to cater to the problems of the urban landscape in India. ठीक है, कि अर्बन शहरी इलाकों की क्या समस्याएं हैं, जिसमें से वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट जो है दैट इज वन ऑफ द बिगेस्ट चैलेंजेस. यस एग्जैक्टली, in front of hospitals, exactly, it is all over the place, right? जहां पे भी waste management की दिक्कत है. चलिए, so let's take a question now. Yes, which of the following statements is or are correct with respect to Swachhata Startup Challenge? First, it is an initiative taken under the aegis of the National Institution for Transforming India, and second, the challenge is open only to the startups registered in India. Yes, so what should be the answer here? Swapnil Patil, I believe that you got your answer. DPIIT, Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, right? Okay, Preeti says A, Anu also says A, and Rohit says C. Great. हाँ जी, बाकी लोगों के आंसर्स कहाँ हैं? Yes, Ahana, Sakshi, Swapnil, Vivek, Rohit. ठीक है, कुछ लोग कह रहे हैं ए, कुछ लोग कह रहे हैं सी. चंद्रकांत बी, आहाना ऑल्सो बी, राइट. देखो पहली बात तो नीति आयोग के अंडर नहीं है, दिस इज कंप्लीटली अंडर महुआ. इट इज नॉट अंडर नीति आयोग, इट इज अंडर द मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ हाउसिंग एंड अर्बन अफेयर्स अलॉन्ग विद द डिपार्टमेंट फॉर प्रमोशन ऑफ इंडस्ट्री एंड इंटरनल ट्रेड, DPIIT. सो यू डोंट हैव नीति आयोग हियर. फर्स्ट इज इनकरेक्ट. ठीक है, जो दूसरी स्टेटमेंट है ये इसलिए गलत है क्योंकि स्टार्टअप्स जो रजिस्टर्ड हैं इंडिया में, certainly it is open for them, but apart from that, this is one. The second is that if an Indian startup or if a French company, if a French startup is in a joint venture with an Indian startup, ठीक है, कि एक इंडियन स्टार्टअप है उसके साथ जो है एक फ्रेंच कंपनी का जॉइंट वेंचर है, they are collaborating with each other, then that is also eligible for this challenge, right? So the second statement will be incorrect and hence your answer will be D, that neither 1 nor 2 is correct. Yes, exactly Pranjal and Rohit, absolutely. ठीक है, सी नहीं होगा आंसर. क्यों? क्योंकि जो दूसरी कैटेगरी है उस कैटेगरी को भी यहाँ पे इंक्लूड किया, दैट इज इट इज ऑल्सो ओपन टू startups registered in India and the French ones which have a joint venture with an Indian startup, right? So it could be, certainly it could be an Indian startup which is registered in India. Apart from that, it could also be a French company which is in a joint venture with an Indian startup, right? So for both of these categories of startups, the challenge is open, right? Is that clear? ठीक है, चलिए, great. Right. So look, certainly the government, it is actually giving great amount of significance. It is attaching great amount of importance to the Swachh Bharat Mission Abhiyan. The urban component, the rural component, both have been given, due regard by the government. And because of that, this has been constantly in news. And since this has been constantly in news, that becomes important for you to revise all these things. ठीक है, अभी हमने जो आर्टिकल डिस्कस किया है इस लिमिटेड स्कोप में डिस्कस किया है, बट प्लीज रिवाइज, प्लीज इंश्योर दैट आपने स्वच्छ भारत मिशन के जब नोट्स बनाए थे ओरिजिनली जब इसको लॉन्च किया गया था, उसको भी एक बार जस्ट गो थ्रू देम वंस, क्विकली इनफ ओनली, बट स्टिल आई वुड सजेस्ट दैट प्लीज रिवाइज देम एट वंस, राइट? चलिए, great. So that brings us to the last question for the day. That is, which of the following countries share border with Afghanistan? First, Turkmenistan, India, Tajikistan, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan. Yes. So please mark your answers quickly. This was in certainly news. We discussed the India Central Asian Republic's first ever summit which was held, and they have touched upon the topic of Afghanistan very prominently. Okay, Sartaj says B and Mehboob says A. Anu says B. Pranjal B. Chandrakant A. Preeti says C. ठीक है, बाकी लोगों के आंसर्स जिसने भी B बोला है ना, that certainly is absolutely wrong. भाई आप इंडिया को कैसे एक्सक्लूड कर सकते हो? Second is India, and if you're saying B is the answer, which does not have India a part of it, certainly we share a border with Afghanistan. The official position of India, the official position of our country is that we certainly share a border with Afghanistan. Please be very clear. Right, yes, exactly. India does share. India अभी भी share करता है जो हमारी position है. We have not, the illegally occupied Pakistan, occupied Kashmir, the illegally occupied area of Jammu and Kashmir, which is under the occupation of Pakistan. Through that, we certainly share our borders with Afghanistan. That is an integral part of India. Right, so please be very sure that your official position should be that certainly we share border with Afghanistan. Right, हाँ, तो तुर्कमेनिस्तान है, इंडिया है, तजिकिस्तान है एंड उज्बेकिस्तान है. यू डोंट हैव कजाकिस्तान. सो द आंसर विल बी 1, 2, 3 and 5. राइट, ए विल बी द आंसर. लेट मी जस्ट शो यू द मैप. See, here you have in this particular stretch, this is the area of India. This is the Indian area precisely. And here you have India sharing border with Afghanistan. This stretch of land is Afghanistan, and here we are sharing border with Afghanistan. Apart from that, you have Uzbekistan here, you have Tajikistan here, and you have Turkmenistan here, all sharing borders with Afghanistan. Right. So what should be your position with respect to Afghanistan sharing border with India is that yes, precisely we do share border with Afghanistan. राइट, प्लीज बी वेरी क्लियर इन योर माइंड्स. ठीक है, तो यहाँ पे आपको क्लियर कट दिख रहा है. यहाँ पे इंडिया का बॉर्डर शेयर हो रहा है, तजिकिस्तान का हो रहा है, उज्बेकिस्तान का हो रहा है और तुर्कमेनिस्तान का हो रहा है. राइट, तो आंसर क्या हो जाएगा? व्हाट विल बी द आंसर? तुर्कमेनिस्तान, इंडिया, तजिकिस्तान एंड उज्बेकिस्तान. देखो, आउट ऑफ 5 यू हैव द 3 सेंट्रल एशियन रिपब्लिक्स. जो सेंट्रल एशियन रिपब्लिक्स हैं 5, उनमें से 3 जो हैं दे शेयर देयर बॉर्डर विद अफगानिस्तान. और ये इसीलिए जो है, जो फर्स्ट एवर इंडिया सेंट्रल एशियन रिपब्लिक्स का समिट हुआ है, उसमें अफगानिस्तान वाज डिस्कस्ड सो प्रोमिनेंटली, क्योंकि कोई भी इंस्टेबिलिटी अफगानिस्तान में जो है हैज डायरेक्ट इंपैक्ट ऑन दी सेंट्रल एशियन रिपब्लिक्स. सर्टनली इट ऑल्सो हैज एन इंपैक्ट ऑन इंडिया एज वेल. राइट, सो प्लीज प्रैक्टिस द मैप. Mark these things, draw themselves by your hand also, क्योंकि देखो एग्जाम में when you're going to write the answers in mains, then also if you draw rough sketches they are very important to make your marks better. Right, so that is why you should practice these things also. Right, those of you who are seriously contemplating for UPSC. Right, चलिए, great. So I believe I am clear on that as well. We are done with the map also, and with that we have come to an end of the session. Right, so thank you so much for joining in. All of you, study well, stay safe, follow COVID appropriate behavior and study well, and Jai Hind. Thank you so much.